You have no idea on how to beat mages as ADC. Today, I will try to explain you how to go even or even win against mages bot lane. As this topic is a bit hard, I will divide every mage. So we're gonna start with Ziggs and then all the other champions. I'll probably bookmark every mage that's the most common usually. I'm not gonna pick every mage because else that would be kind of a problem. But I'm gonna explain you how to win against pretty much all of these mages. Ziggs is one of the most annoying in my opinion. In general, all mages are really annoying if they get teleport, because what they can do is they can do free wave crash, base, teleport with Dark Seal for example, or they can play the slow lane where they get Lost Chapter, they base, and then get Lost Chapter with teleport. In both cases we're kind of fucked, because we never have engage potential on them. They have no summoner advantage, but at the same time they are really hard to engage. So our best chance to actually beat a teleport ADC is to always make a free wave cheat recall. Free wave cheat recalls are always really good against teleport because you're not making teleport useful. You do a free wave, you base, and then the Ziggs can shove the wave, base, and teleport, but it doesn't make much sense because there's no wave to catch. So free wave cheat recalls are the best way to beat teleport in general. If you manage to get the early push, free wave cheat recall, base, Cal, it's always so much better because even then, if the mage is low mana, he has no push compared to an ADC, which usually could have even more. That's what we want to understand. The first thing is, do they have teleport, do they don't? If they don't have teleport, you are gonna have a bit more troubles on the 2 vs 2 skirmish because they might have barrier, they might have exhaust, and we're gonna talk about that. Ziggs goes for teleport, so what we will love to do, free wave crash, Cal, support Rom's mid lane. Because again, we're making the mage useless in this case. The mage loves to push, decide whenever to base, and then teleport back to the lane so that he will never lose any type of farm. The most important thing when it comes to the Ziggs matchup is that you don't want to stay on the center of the wave. So you don't want to hug, just like Sen is doing right now. You don't want to stay here in this position because you're giving Ziggs one of the best Qs in the game, which is a Q where he hits both the wave and the enemy. The best advice that I can give you from this type of matchup, for example, or anyway, like when you're playing against Ziggs, is to stay outside of the wave and bait Ziggs to Q you. Because if you stay here, Ziggs throws the Q and you manage to dodge it, well then the Q just like bounces towards the nothing and there's no wave. There's no wave, no pushing power, and you can for sure get the level 3 push, which is what we want with the cheat recall. You might get the bomb in the face, that's something that you want to keep in account. If you dodge it, that's infinite value, let's say, because you're basically just like saying, okay, this guy's no spell, we can push 100%, they have no push potential, and that's why you want to play in this way. So you go here, open space, front face the Ziggs, force him to Q yourself, so that then you can look for the free wave crash into base, teleport, item advantage. From there, the lane plays out normally, both supports with Rom, and then you're playing Sen against the Ziggs normally. So just to show you really quick what happened here, you see Ziggs goes for the Q on the wave, which is what we don't want. What I would have done is Senna, stay here, trade really quick the Ziggs, so that if maybe he goes for an auto on me instead of the wave, and in this way, I was slowly getting the push. Okay, now we talk about Khartus, one of the most recent discoveries of the patch, where everyone has like an insane win rate with the champion, 54% win rate or something like that. And you might answer yourself, how the fuck do I counter this shit? Like, can I actually win against Khartus? Is there any way? And well, the answer to that is yes and no. 99% of the times, Khartus wants to basically take a 1-for-1, okay? I want you to understand that. So, in either way, if you trade Khartus, you might go low, and when you go low, you either trade 1-for-1, and that's completely fine for Khartus, because Khartus is literally a broken champion, okay? Once he gets like 10 kills, even if he's 10-10, he's a champion that once he presses ultimate, he has his own value. While maybe you're an ADC, and every time you're dying, you don't even get the wave, Khartus gets the wave, and then you pretty much lose from there. So, our objective when playing against Khartus is to make sure that this 1-for-1 doesn't become a 1-for-1. We want this trade to become a 0-for-1 at best, because else this guy will catch the wave while dead, and he will also get the gold of our kill. Basically cheating out the lane in this way, by dying, getting our kill, and then getting the wave, something that we can't really do as ADCs. The first tip that I want to give you is, again, we know 99% of the times Khartus is going to go exhaust, so you can match with clans, especially if the enemy has some other stuns. In this case, for example, they don't have many stuns, so going barrier is still kind of justified. If you don't want to go barrier, you can even try to match exhaust. I like to say that matching exhaust is always really good, because you match exhaust, he matches exhaust, and then we can kind of like go away from him if we really need to. The main issue is that many times Khartus will flash on you. He will flash on you, he will W you, and then you're slowed. If you exhaust him, and you walk away from him, you have a chance of like not dying right away, or he's not gonna kill you right away. That's just like an example. You can even go ghost. It's the same concept. You can ghost to get out of Khartus or to engage him. Both things are true. And it's also really easier to like dodge the Qs of Khartus if you pay attention to it. The main issue of this champion is always the same. I will love to play against Khartus not at midnight. Do not play against this champion at midnight because it's really, really hard to see his Qs compared to like when you're in the morning or you're a bit more fresh. I swear to God, this is how it works. So play against Khartus in the morning. Do not play late night. If you match Khartus late night, it's so hard to play against him simply because you're tired. The champion is really, really hard to play against. I actually played Samira one time, I remember, into Khartus, and I always managed to like get the reset and then up back because I went for X-Dinker. So going MR is kind of underrated against Khartus. You can go some MR and then pivot into a real item. Or if you're playing on it, just in this case, just like Vayne, no? We can see that enemy botlane is kind of like full AP, their mid laner is AP. You can easily, without any problems and without any issues, go for Withstand. That's actually a doable thing. You can rush Withstand, have some lifesteal on your kit, and this works really, really well. I always felt, once again, that if you manage to have a really good 1v1 against Khartus and you manage to pivot into these items, it's always so much easier. Where is the problem? If you're playing Aphelios, you are fucked here. Because you're playing a champion that can't play anything, like you can't really play Malmortius Rush. You can play X-Drinker Rush, but then your damage kind of like drops off. So some matchups are really, really, really hard, and that's why Khartus has the weird that he has. But let's suppose, again, in this case, we are Vayne, we have this type of like fix that we can actually do, and we will keep them in mind. So again, Ghost, or match Exhaust, or go Cleanse to deny the Exhaust of the enemy, on top of like all the enemy spells. Ghost to dodge better the Qs. Barrier, it's a bit worse, I will say, because it can work and it can't work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Heavily depends. It can still work, of course, especially because Khartus does a shit ton of damage. It's still a really consistent answer. What I'm saying is, usually I want to go into Khartus and then go back. So, let's see what happens here. The guy gets exhausted, and you see from here, it's really easy because... Why does Khartus go exhaust? Because it's really easy to land Qs afterwards. Like, you're gonna exhaust the guy and then you're fucked, right? You're just getting hit by every Q because you're slowed. And that's the same concept. So he'll exhaust from the Khartus. And right now, that's why Khartus is so annoying, right? You have the lane, you wanna go for the wave, but Khartus is just gonna endlessly Q you every time you walk up for a minion. And you can't really do much about it. Our objective is to survive the lane, get MR, and then look to do trades where he always does 0 for 1. In this way, we're slightly going outside of the lane without actually losing and without feeding him too much. If you have the luck of playing against Swain, it's one of the easiest mages to play against compared to the others. Swain, it's really, really strong against AD champions if he manages to get a lot of stacks and then go plated. For example, in this case, we have Ziggs, which is one of the worst champions to play against with Swain. Like, basically, Ziggs tends to lose really, really hard against Swain. But in general, let's suppose you know that they are playing Swain ADC in the draft and you have knowledge of it. The only thing you want to take is something to outrange him. There's a lot of ADCs that can outrange him, such as Ezreal, Jhin, whatever you want. And those champions, they do a really good job at like not losing, at least. They will never lose against him, but they also maybe sometimes will never kill him. But the important thing when it comes to mages is, in my opinion at least, to get out of the lane. And once you get out of the lane, it kind of like feels all really flat. Like you're able to outscale them as well. You're playing Jhin, you get those 3-4 items, and you get the items, you're fine, right? The same goes for Jinx in reality. But what feels really bad is if Swain goes plated steel caps, stacks ruby crystals, and then this guy becomes unkillable in the laning phase, and the only way of playing is to actually jump on him. If you see this lane, for example, Jinx, Rakan, they want to go towards Swain, and that's exactly what Swain wants. My first advice, if you're playing against Swain and you know it, do not pick hard engage into him. Like, don't engage him. Let the game play out, and maybe ask your support to roam, and literally just play 1v1 against Swain. You should almost never die, unless you have an immobile character, you have no flash, and stuff like that. Sometimes Swain actually goes TP or barrier, it's the same concept. If they go TP, the same concept applies. We do free wave crash, cheat base, come back to bot lane. If they don't, they have a better skirmish. The whole concept against Swain is be really careful about his E. That's the only thing. Like, the pair of E plus the super spell is what's gonna kill you. So the better you get used at like avoiding the E of Swain, the better it is. And that's like the main concept. Let's see what happens in this game. So we're gonna see a few trading here and there. Jinx just like hard trading for no reason in such a matchup, as we said. And the Swain gets a few autos off, auto Q, stuff like that. And from here, they maybe manage to do the free wave cheat recall, which is still fine. If they manage to base, that's pretty good. So as you can see, they managed to do it in a really bad way. They still wasted a lot of stuff. But that's, again, the main objective that you always want to look out for against the Swain, especially because now in this position, you're going to see Swain taking the wave, but it takes a lot of time for him to actually just like crush this next one as well, you see? So by the time you come back, you have the item advantage here. So now Ziggs is playing with an item advantage. She's playing with Cal, and now she can hold this wave here if she wants. The guy is not based, and then we can call for the Rek'Sai gank, which eventually should lead to a tiny advantage on our side. Let's see what happens. As we saw, we had the gank, we had the item advantage, and from there we got an advantage of like taking the flash of Swain or whatever. The only important thing, again, do not pick full AD characters, do not pick Samira, Jinx, those champions. If Swain goes plated steel caps, stacks some ruby crystals or gets some passive points, becomes literally unkillable. There's a bit of difference between like Xerath ADC and support, because Xerath ADC has to take the wave, while Xerath support can just hit you endlessly, okay? So always go for the 150 gold refillable potions. That's really, really important. And on top of that, also go for the 300 gold boots. I think that team matchups such as Xerath for Lux, boots are always really, really good, especially the 300 gold ones. You don't have to fully close them. So with 450 gold, you are well placed because you buy the boots with 300, 150 gold, you get the refillable potions. That's the type of buy that I would do in such double poke comps. So triple tonic doesn't feel that good, while cookies do give you more HP, they give you more sustain. Those tiny rune choices actually do make the difference, so be aware of it. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something new. Today we reached Grandmasters in live by like doing 10 games in a row of Jinx Abris, but I want to thank you out. And I hope you understood something new. Thank you so much for watching, and fuck mage players.